Hi everybody, welcome to this tutorial about an updated Gmail. My name is Ryan O'Donnell, your Tectosa, and in this video tutorial I'm going to walk you through some of the new updates that are rolling out to Gmail. As you can see on the screen here, you're going to have a welcome screen that will show up and help you walk you through the steps of what this new Gmail will look like. In order to enable this, you're going to have to turn this feature on, and I'll show you how to be able to do that. When you do this turning on feature, it's going to walk you through these steps. So much like anytime an app or a tool gets updated, you'll have a couple of these notifications. So you're just going to say click on next. The first thing it's going to ask you to do is which view do you want to be able to see. And this shows basically the size or the spacing between your emails. So it says default, you can see about average size. Comfortable, it's going to put them much closer together, and compact will really bring them to fit a lot in one view. So I'm going to show you what the default looks like and click OK. And here is what this new Gmail looks like. In order to enable this, what you're going to want to be able to do is in the upper right hand corner in the settings gear icon, when you click on that, you will see the new Gmail. You have the opportunity to be able to go back if this is something that you would want. Let me show you what going back would look like. So going back over here, you can see there's not a significant change really. That's going to be radically a different layout. It's not going to all of a sudden turn into Microsoft Outlook and such. It's still Gmail. Some of the things that you're going to see is a change in the font and change in some shapes. There's some functionality that's going to be a little bit different. So I'm going to switch back over here, and this is what you'll see. Try the new Rockland Unified District Mail. And the new Gmail will load up. This will default to your existing old email. So if you want to be able to try this thing out, you're going to have to go over here to turn on. So some of the differences that you can see here. First off, if you've checked in Google Drive recently, I'll open up Google Drive, and you'll be able to see that this same sort of font changes and design layout is happened to all of us in Google Drive. In the upper left-hand corner, the buttons that says how to be able to start something, like the new button over here is a different shape and such, and the same thing exists over here in the email as well too. So if you want to be able to go through some of the changes, let me walk you through some of them. First off, in the upper left-hand corner, there's these three lines, this main menu. When I click on the main menu, you can see what happens. I'm going to turn it on and off, on and off. And what that does is that pushes this navigation over here on the left, and it minimizes it. If you notice when I come over here, I'm not clicking. If I just move my mouse into this area, it flies out. If I move my mouse away, it goes back. So for those of you who want to be able to have more space within the window, that's what this will allow you to have. And you have just those icons of your inbox, your starred, your important, sent, and drafts. If you want to be able to have that open all the time, you click on those three lines on the main menu, and then it will stay, reducing the amount of space, but at least have those over there. In this layout, I have already left my primary social promotions, updates, and forums on. That's something that we discussed when we went over the Gmail training earlier on the year. That's something that you guys can choose to have. Some other changes that you can be able to see is the spacing that I showed you before. If I click on the gear and I go to display density, that gives me this this choice again. So let me show you what some of the other ones would look like. This is what comfortable looks like. Not a big significant change. And if I go over here to compact, you're going to see a much more smaller. The space between one email and the next is going to be significantly different. Probably the biggest updates that you're going to see is over here on the right-hand side. These are add-ons, and so a lot of people who use Gmail find themselves jumping out back and forth to either taking notes or checking their calendar for things. And so they had added them on over here. So for there'll be three default ones: calendar, keep, and tasks. We're all familiar with calendar, so when I click on these add-ons, now what it happens is it creates this window over here on the right-hand side. and lets you be able to see your calendar directly within here. All these rollouts are relatively new, and what they're saying in the future is that more and more of interoperability between the email and these add-ons. So, for example, it's not there yet, but they're saying that you're going to be able to drag events from one over to the other, and you can scroll and such. If you're interested, you can just click on that button right there to be able to open it up into a new tab up on the top. Or if I wanted to, I can hit the X and get rid of that. The same applies to these other tools. Google Keep, if I click on Keep, Keep is the note-taking app. And the note-taking app is a really nice one for quick ideas. So say, hey, ideas for next year, or hey, we talked about this during our PLC. There's even a handwriting piece, and you can upload images. The nice part about this is that you can integrate the two. So as you take notes to yourself, let's say notes about, hey, I need to be able to email somebody or something, I can be able to address them and see them over here. The last one they have is similar to like Keep, but the idea about how can I tell myself to get things done later? I need to respond later. I need to be able to check in on this. And then it's called Tasks. Interesting about Tasks is that they're saying that hopefully that people will have the email to start putting their tasks from one side to the other, their emails. So, for example, I could take this email and drop it over here and say, hey, I want to make this a task, and I want to be able to edit this and say, hey, give it a due date. I want to be able to watch this or respond to this or check this out by, let's say, the 25th. There isn't necessarily notifications built in yet and time associated with them. I'm assuming that once they have those roll out, this will be much more of a robust feature to say, hey, listen, on this email, drag that over. I want to respond by Friday, 8 a.m. And if not, give me a notification thing. So that's what those particularly add-ons will be. And if you click on Get More Add-ons, you'll see it'll take you to this marketplace where there's more that are out there. Some things may be applicable to you. So if you have people sign documents, and you may want to be able to use something like that. But that's something to be able to check out. Some more updates or things to be able to check out. If you notice, I have the generic white theme. If I wanted to go over to the and change that, if I click on the settings, the gear, and then click on settings, and this brings up the traditional settings label that we've the settings area that we've seen in the past. If I go over to advanced on the right hand side, this will give us what many people really kind of enjoyed, which was that preview pane, and it's right here on the top. It says preview pane, enable the ability to toggle off and on having your message side by side. That's what a lot of us really liked about the Microsoft Outlook. So yours will probably be default to be disabled, so you can turn that on. And there's some other different ones that you can look at. Let me show you what it looks like back if I hop back out of my, got to hit Save Changes and come back over here. Now I have this button over here that allows me to do the no split, the vertical split, or the horizontal split. And when I click on them, I have the ability to, like I said, have the email on the top, the message on the right hand, on the bottom, and so forth. So that's if you want to be able to create that. I personally like having the having this off. One of the nice features is this hover. Now, if you notice, as I move my mouse from one email to the next, over on the right hand side, 3 little buttons pop up, and that is the archive, the delete, and mark as read. So instead of clicking on each one and then having to be able to hit delete, it now gives you the opportunity. I could just go and hit directly from here, archive that email, archive that email, archive, delete. If you can remember the difference between archive and delete, archive means that you won't see it anymore. It will show up if you ever decide to click on to that all mail, which nobody really does. That means all your mail is accessible and you can view it. But the basic reason is why you would archive one is that you can search for it later. So let's say if I archive this one from YouTube, my inbox only has 2, but if I search for YouTube, there is that email that shows up that I could be able to see that. So that's what the archive feature will allow you to do. It's a way for you to be able. It seems it's much like if you want to be able to delete an email, but you still want to be able to receive it. And Google recommends that choosing the archive button more than the delete button. Lastly, I want to be able to show you if we go back over to settings. And on the far right side, if you could look at themes, a lot of people really enjoyed the themes that came with But interesting enough is there haven't really been any new themes added on. So I said pick a theme. Here's the default theme. I can click on the dark theme, change the colors, and even some of these ones on the bottom. But these have been around for quite some time. So a lot of users have requested and updated themes. But as of right now, they're still pretty much just those standard ones. Generally, you can pick some of these kind of interesting nature ones, but it is often, many people find them a bit distracting over time because that kind of lays over the top behind all of your emails. Now, if you're somebody who lives in an inbox zero, where you're able ultimately to be able to get to the bottom of your emails, then it may necessarily work. For many of us who have hundreds and thousands of emails, it's a bit challenging. Lastly, like we said at the beginning, if you want to be able to try this new Gmail, it's something that you're going to have to turn on your own. Remember that as you go up to the settings and give it a test. The two main emails will exist for some time. We don't necessarily know about when they will move everybody over to the new email, but it gives you something to be able to play around with over the summer if you want to be able to try it. And like we said, there's going to be some more updates coming around in the fall, and we hope you have the opportunity to play around with it and get comfortable before we come back. If you have any questions about this or others, feel free to definitely contact the service desk with concerns and questions that you have, and good luck with your new Gmail.